Social studies classes and to interested 9th and 10th grade students who signed up by following QR code on the posted notice on campus. Now, please rise and remove your hats for the presentation of the national colors.
Right face. Ready, cut. Left face. Present arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Forward arms. Left face. Left face. Forward mark.
Okay, please be seated. Welcome to our Air Force and Civil Air Patrol Vocational Pathway Assembly. This assembly is hosted by Chihuahua High School Patriots Club. In Patriots Club, we have made commitments to certain principles, actions, and behaviors in order to build our club and to grow respect and self-discipline on our campus. We would like to introduce you to some of what we do through a few of our Level 4 and Leadership Cadre student leaders. Alyssa Avalos.
Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Good. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is, well, first of all, what is Patriots Club? Patriots Club is a ASB ran club that is for pre-service. It's like a pre-service club, so if you're interested in going into the military, then I would definitely consider joining Patriots Club because it can prepare you with the discipline, the physical aspects of that, marching, and stuff like that basically. But even though if you don't want to go into the military after high school, you can still do Patriots Club. So if you want to go into firefighting, police, stuff like that, you can still do Patriots Club or just do it for fun. Especially we have a lot of athletes in Patriots Club because we do PT and it really helps them with their sports and discipline. Why ASB instead of JRTC? So our club, as I said, was an ASB run club, and the benefits of that is we can choose what we want to do. So if we decide as a group, like we don't want to do something, then we can decide what we do and what we don't do. Whereas JRTC, they tell them to do something, and then that's what they do, and they stick to that. And we have a little more freedom and leeway with that. Next slide, please. And as you can see on the screen behind me, here's a few things that we value, activities that we do. So one of them being drill, and that's what we do basically at varsity football games. We do the drill with the flags and the rifles, and we do that, and then when you get drill competencies, you get pins, so you get that certification, I guess. And then we also do PT, as I talked about earlier, which is, we have it on Mondays and Fridays, and we do rucking, which is fun, and we do a lot of exercising, and it really gets us in shape. So, yeah, and then the other stuff, at this time, you can just see it on the screen and read through them really quick of just stuff that we do.
Hello, my name is Armando Mahena, and I'm a level 4 in Patriots Club. Next coming up to the mic will be Michael Marchman, who is also a level 4 and a Sash in Patriots Club.
Let's go, y'all. I don't know, that's be fine, but I guess it is. You know what? Okay. My name is Michael Marshall. I'm a senior this year, and I'm a leader and cadre for Patriots Club. And I'm one of the second to lasting members of Patriots Club, the originals anyway. And, well, I just wanted to talk about why Patriots Club. You know, what are the things that we prioritize, you know, that we value in this club? You know, some of those things would be friendship, respect, loyalty, drill, order, honesty, fitness, and of course, our, you know. And I would like to talk about, you know, loyalty, you know, because it's a basic human thing. You don't go behind people's backs. If you do, snitch, right? We don't talk about this, you know. Snitch. What this Patriots Club do, you know? Beginning of the year, all the time, we, you know, come together, have a meeting about all the drills that we're going to do, you know, the assemblies, you know, just any activities that we plan on doing for the rest of the year. You know, we also do school sporting events. So anytime there's a basketball game, a soccer game, a football game, we're there. And yes, it is very scary to do for a lot of people, you know, especially if it's your first time. You know, we also do it for the Veterans Day Parade for, I think, an hour or two. Yeah, that hurts your feet. We also do, you know, concession stands during sporting events. You know, we make money for the club. Let's get free food after, so win-win, I guess. You know, fundraisers for the waterfalls event last year for the boat races. On a tan, definitely should go. You know, we do service projects, you know, club socials, and, you know, end of the year field training, or, you know, FTX. So for that, we'll do, you know, run miles, we'll carry, you know, 20, 40-pound weights in our bags, so we're cheating on it, you know, run around the school, helps the roundabout, you know, just basic exercise stuff to try to keep us to be as physically healthy as possible. Thank you.
Speaking next about the opportunities within the Civil Air Patrol is Chaplain Gossett.
Good morning. It's number 2 on. Hey, it's cool. All right, so my name is Jacob Gossett. I am a chaplain for the local Civil Air Patrol. Some of you may be asking, what is Civil Air Patrol? You're going to actually hear this a couple of times from a couple of presenters today. Civil Air Patrol is a civilian organization that is an auxiliary of the United States Air Force. And you're like, what's an auxiliary? Well, an auxiliary is kind of a program that works alongside like a branch of the military. Civil Air Patrol is a little bit different than other auxiliaries. Is we are in the we call it total force of the United States Air Force, and part of the Civil Air Patrol is it's an adult organization, but one of our missions is cadet programs. And so that's what I'm here to talk to you about. What is cadet programs? Next slide, please. So on this picture, you can see some of the stuff that we do. Over on the far side, that is the second tallest rappelling tower in the nation, by the way. That's actually one of our local cadets going down. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Over here we have Chief Gossett, he's my son. is doing our flag ceremony at the Pasco thing. And then over here is one of our cadets, another Chief Gossett, sorry, I've used my kids' pictures. She is actually sitting in the cockpit of C-17 in flight. So just wanted to kind of put that out. Go ahead and move to the next slide. Some of the things that we do locally here in the Tri-Cities is we do Wreaths Across America, where we place wreaths during Christmas time on the gravestones of our veterans. We do memorial flag raisings, like you saw in the picture for the Pasco area. We do Veterans Day Parade. We do all kinds of ceremonies. They ask us to come in and do flag ceremonies for them. We do orientation flights, which was the C-17 flight, was this orientation flight. We also do orientation flights in the United States Air Force has the largest grouping of Cessna aircraft, and that belongs to the Civil Air Patrol. And so orientation flights, you get 5 powered, 5 unpowered, and 5 balloons, if we had somebody who actually had balloons anymore, as a cadet. And in an orientation flight, the pilot will take off, take you to 1,000 feet, and say, you're playing. And there's 5 different plans, depending on which flight you're on, what that looks like. The third one I've heard is everybody's favorite, because that one they actually power, they take the practice power off stalls. That's where they turn off the power. Plane goes into stall and you get to recover. And we do emergency services training as Civil Air Patrol. One of our main missions is emergency services, and we get to have ground teams go in to do rescue operations for downed aircraft. We do Sound Patriot competition, which is a competition for oh man, blanking on what the wording is here. Basically, we have a competition of who can secure computers and fight off active hacking situations. And it's a national competition. Schools can have Cyber Patriot teams. JROTC has Cyber Patriot teams, and so does CAB, and we all compete against each other to see who can do it best. We do aerospace outreach. In fact, in 2 weeks, we're going to be at the Richland Public Library doing outreach, teaching kids about aerospace and aircraft and stuff. We escort families to the Experimental Aircraft Association, holds free flights for anybody under the age of 18. They call it the Young Eagles program, and we walk families out to the aircraft to and from and keep kids safe so they're not running into situations where it can get dangerous. Then we have Cadet Wings Flight Scholarships. If you are in the cadet program and you apply and get accepted into the Cadet Wings program scholarship, you get your private pilot's license paid for free, so that's kind of cool. And if you're interested at all in a future career in aviation, you need to have that. And so that's a way to lessen the cost there. Next slide. Preparing for the future. Civil Air Patrol does a great job of preparing you for the future, whether that's for the military or elsewhere. There are 2 awards that you can earn as you go through the program. The first one that you kind of come up to is the Billy Mitchell Award. That one is pretty cool. It's the equivalent of earning your Eagle Scout in the scouting program. And it actually comes with a lot of benefits for if you go into enlisted in the military, it can give you some benefits there. The other one is the General Carl A. Spots Award. That award is our highest level award you can earn as a cadet. And while it doesn't guarantee you an appointment to one of the service academies, it does look extremely good on an application. And so, you get a lot of benefit for having it. Then there's this one, this is the one I want to talk about the most, is leadership. Leadership is a valuable skill to have anywhere in life. If you're going to be working with people at all, you're going to have some skills on whether to be a leader, or how to be a follower, or how to be a teammate, how to do all of that stuff. And leadership skills gives you that. So part of our cadet program is theoretical and practical skills for that. We actually have a whole program built on leadership. And part of that is book learning. And the crazy thing is I do a lot of leadership stuff in my career. And the book learning that the cadets programs go through talks about the exact same stuff that I'm learning at the college level. And so it's really cool. But then we also give you opportunities to practice leadership. We have a whole organizational structure. We have a chain of command, just like with any military organization in our cadet programs. And as you progress in your cadet program, you get handed more and more opportunities to practice leadership. You can be a flight sergeant, you can be a flight commander, you can be a first sergeant, you can be the squadron commander. All of that gives you different kinds of understandings of different types of leadership roles. Gives you opportunities in public speaking, confidence and discipline, and influencing peers. Influencing peers kind of sounds like a negative thing, but the idea is, how would you help get people on board with the direction that you want to go? Part of that is how do you influence the thinking of somebody? How do you understand their ability to understand what's going on and then get them excited about it and join? Next slide. Some of the opportunities we have in Civil Air Patrol are what we call NCSAs, and they come in basically 5 different types of NCSAs. Go ahead and go to the next slide. First one we're going to talk about is leadership. We have a lot of different leadership opportunities. One of them is Blue Beret. Talk about the Experimental Aircraft Association. They also have one of the world's largest air shows that happens every year in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Blue Beret is a part of that. They are the people there who are marshaling, telling the pilots when they fly in where they're going to go and where they're going to park and how they're going to move around on the ground. We also have cadet officer school where they learn what it looks like to be an officer and to be the kind of the corporate understanding of leadership and the delegator. Next slide. We have flight academies. The local flight academy is the Desert Eagle Flight Academy, and if you get into Desert Eagle Flight Academy, they will take you from no grant flight experience all the way to your solo, and all of that is counted as flight school. And that's the most expensive part of flight training, is that section. Next slide. There's operations. We have the National Emergency Services Academy that is 2.5 weeks, where you go learn what it looks like to be the ground team in a search and rescue situation. You learn practical skills on how to run a radio, how to be in contact with aircraft who are doing their aircraft stuff in the sky, all that kind of stuff. Next slide. Technology, like I said earlier, we've got the big cyber patriot, but it goes even deeper. We've got engineering technology academies. There's both one that's just computer focused, one that's robotic focused. We've got regional cybersecurity academies. Lots of fun there. Just to give you an understanding, our local regional happens in the Seattle area, and they got to go to this last year, they got to go to the FBI, they got to go to the CIA, they got to go to Amazon server farms, they got to go with Boeing, all of these top secret places where you weren't allowed, like we had to stop, we take all of our electronics devices, put it in a secure bunker, and then go through the metal detector and all that fun stuff. And they got to do all that stuff. And then the last slide here of NCSA is the Air Force. Any of you guys like running? Lots and lots of running, lots and lots of physical activity. If you do, then the top 2 are for you, the Air Force Pararescue and Survival Orientation Course. Pararescue is one of the special forces of the Air Force, and they actually invite the cadets to come and do a week worth of training with them, where you do all kinds of crazy things. We had one of our cadets, his name is Bradley Gorham. He actually is at the Air Force Academy right now. He got to do both of those, and I said, so how was it? He said it was a blast. He got to do all kinds of crazy stuff. One of the things I said was, what did you get to do? He goes, run. We ran a lot. Lots and lots of running. All right. And then the last one, next slide, that I want to talk to you about is encampment. Encampment is an opportunity that every cadet gets to go to. If they want to progress through the program, they actually have to go to an encampment. And encampment is kind of like your understanding of basic military organization stuff. So if you are interested at all into what it looks like to go to the military, a little teeny tiny taste, and I say a little taste because we can't go full U.S. military, of what a boot camp might feel like is encampment. And encampment is the whole bust in the morning, you get 5:30, everybody yelling and screaming, you jump out of your bunks and you're on the lines in it at attention, going straight to PT, all that stuff. It's a lot of fun, you get to learn drill, you get to go to classes and understand what it looks like to be in leadership and military and all that craziness. But also, one of the fun things is you get to do fun things. We talked about doing orientation flights. This last year, the Winter Raptor got to do orientation flights on Blackhawk. And this year, the Cascade Falcon got to do orientation flights on a Chinook helicopter. Got to fly around the whole, over the coast, on the Oregon coast. They got to go fly over the beach, and that's kind of fun. They also got to do rappelling with the pararescue vest. And that is my presentation of what Civil Air Patrol is. Next is one of our cadets.
Hello, Giovanna. I am Robbie Gutierrez. I'm an 8th grader at Laughlin. And you guys may be wondering, what is a CAP and why does it matter? Well, Civil Air Patrol is an auxiliary of the Air Force. We have 3 core values, which is respect, integrity, and volunteer service. One of my favorite things about CAP that I think is just really cool is we do like humanitarian aid. So like in the hurricane in Florida, we went out there and helped with the people who needed it. And CAP can also be a preparation for going into the Air Force if you want to do that. One of the cool things about the Air Force is they help pay for your college in it. You can they help pay for your college in the Air Force, and you can earn college credits by just doing your job in the Air Force. I'm not in the Air Force, but someone named Jason Jans is in it, and he prepared a video for us.
Hello, everyone. Hope you guys had an awesome day so far. You guys enjoyed this presentation. My name is Jason Jans. I'm a former Chihuahua High School student. I'm also a former cadet colonel in the Civil Air Patrol, and now I'm in the first class in the United States Air Force. So we wanted to kind of put together this video to kind of show what my perspective is in the Air Force and how I was led up to choose the Air Force as a path for my career. As I brought up earlier, I'm a previous student of Chihuahua High School. I graduated in 2023, which was kind of an awesome year to graduate. It was just after COVID, so you guys didn't have to really experience any of that. But I think my high school experience was very much so unique because Chihuahua provided me a lot of avenues to explore exactly what my interests were and how to pursue those interests. A lot of those things that I excelled in greatly was like the math sciences, the robotics classes, and a lot of other stuff like college and high school. Civil Air Patrol is a really unique organization in that they're able to explore a lot of things that typically high school or colleges or any other private organization you can't really offer. It's a nation-wide type organization, and it's been around for about 85 years now, since 1941. So there's a lot of opportunities with that, and the biggest opportunities that I found that was really awesome is that I get to work with state, local, and federal government agencies to either train, to learn, or to simply just interact with them and try to do something. Civil Air Patrol has 3 core missions, those being aerospace education, emergency services, and cadet programs. And essentially, those 3 missions are basically the objectives of Civil Air Patrol. Help develop you as a person in the fact that you get to learn about military customs courtesies, you get to develop yourself if you want to become a pilot or if you want to learn about anything within the realms of aerospace, and also emergency services. So you become radio qualified, you can learn how to become an urban direction finder, search and rescue. Civil Air Patrol does that stuff, and it's a really rewarding activity to be a part of. I participated in multiple encampments, which is a cadet program thing. I participated in a statewide activity known as WAMA. There's all kinds of stuff that you can get your hands into and progress if you want to decide to choose Civil Air Patrol. And I've been in it for about 8 years and I have no regrets. It's an awesome activity and it's amazing. During my high school career in Tijuana, I kind of found out that the high school itself didn't have a JROTC program, JROTC, and that kind of bummed me out first because a lot of the programs that I heard about in other high schools in Texas or even in New Mexico where I was born, there's always a JROTC, and one of the biggest things for me personally as a student is it's not just the military aspect, but also just the aspect that you actually get to learn things that are a lot different than high school can offer. You don't really offer in high school like search and rescue or survival like athletics or whatever it may be within that realm of learning. So for me, I decided to found Patriots Club as a way to bridge that gap versus other high schools. So Kennewick High School has an ROTC, other high schools around the entire Washington have ROTCs. So I figured might as well just kind of compete with them at the same level without establishing a ROTC program, and ultimately just bridge that gap for students. There's not much of a military presence in Tijuana, and I wanted to kind of introduce that presence to allow students to understand exactly what options they have, how they can even use Patriots Club as a bridge to get over that gap or get over that wall of not being shown exactly what the military does at all and how military life is. So I wanted to build a program that would allow students to get in touch with those types of people. So why specifically United States Air Force? For me, it was just what the Air Force is about. I've had a lot of influences in my life with Civil Air Patrol. I've had a lot of influences in my life in Tijuana High School regarding with some of my mentors that I've had that were previous Air Force or possibly people who know other people that got in the Air Force, and their service stories, and ultimately just those that have been in the military and know exactly what it takes to get in, but also the rewarding factor in your life once you've been in the military. I wanted to kind of do something greater than myself, and for me, the military was a mystery, it was a challenge, but also at the same time, the Air Force was more what I was looking for, and an aviation oriented service, so that is why I chose the Air Force. So for my career in the Air Force, I'm a crew chief, and what that is like an aircraft mechanic. I'm a crew chief for the KC-46 refueler, and is a refueling aircraft from the United States Air Force. It's the newest refueler in the fleet. Currently, I'm also stationed at a special duty, or IMO, for Wheel and Tire Shop at Travis Air Force Base. Essentially, a wheel and tire shop, instead of working on the airplanes, we kind of come back, work behind the scenes, and we take all the wheels that come off the aircraft that were assigned, and we take them apart. We take all the old rubber parts off, we split the wheels open, we did some inspections, make sure that they're good to go, they're painted, they're cleaned, and we just kind of organize them, wash them, get them prepped for the next tire, slap the tire on there, bolt the tie bolts on there, air them up, and send them back in so that we can keep putting foreheads on foreheads. And that's essentially what my job is so far in the Air Force. So 3 misconceptions about the Air Force. The first one being that everybody's a pilot. Not everybody's a pilot. In fact, pilots are the smallest percentage in the Air Force. The biggest percentage about people in the Air Force are maintainers, the people that actually support the mission to keep the aircraft flying. The last misconception is that you can't vote when you're in the Air Force. That's actually false. You can vote in the Air Force. You're very much so encouraged to do so, and you still exist in the United States. You're just serving your country. So my future plans in the Air Force and what's next for my career is more training, development of myself to be a better maintainer, a better crew chief, and eventually pursue commissioning to the United States Air Force while doing college while enlisted, and eventually getting my PPL and completing a full 20 years. That's my plan so far. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation we have for today. Go Rocks!
Speaking next about the opportunities with the United States Air Force is Staff Sergeant Jenkins.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Sergeant Jenkins. I'm with the United States Air Force. Go to the next slide here. So we talked a lot about opportunities today. We talked about planning, kind of building your future, right, and how have people done that, their pathways to that. As we kind of go through the day, one of the things I've asked is, what does planning your future look like, right? When I talk about planning, what does that look like to you? There's a big quote that I've always really enjoyed that's kind of spoke to me on this point, and it goes, a goal without a plan is just a dream, right? And what does that mean? That means that a goal without a plan is something you're just hoping will happen. It's something that's out there, it's something that's nebulous, right? Something that could happen, but probably won't. But when you plan, when you make a plan and go forward that plan, when you have something in place, that's when you're able to achieve those things. Go after that goal, make that goal a reality, right? Go to the next slide, please. So just real quick about my history, kind of how I got here, right? So when I was in high school, I had a goal of being a pilot, right? That's what I wanted to do. But as I was going through the process, I kind of learned that I didn't have a plan in place. After I got through high school, I went to go to work, right? And I was trying to make the money, put myself through piloting school, through community college. But as I kind of got there, I got burnt out. I couldn't find that motivation, I couldn't find that drive to keep going because I didn't have a plan in place. After a while, I felt myself kind of stagnating at the job I had. And it wasn't a bad job, but it was just not something that really spoke to me. And then one day I was talking to a friend of mine, he told me about how he joined the Air Force, how he become an intelligence analyst, and how it really kind of changed his life. It gave him more motivation, gave him more drive, and really put him on a new course that helped him achieve what he was looking for and gave him something to work towards. That sounded good to me, so I started investigating into it, and eventually I joined the Air Force, ended up moving out to Langley, and it's really helped me kind of find where I want to do and what I want to do with that. Next slide. So when we talk things out today, right, there's a couple things I want us to focus on, and that's how do we plan for the future? How do we develop ourselves? How do we build ourselves up so when we meet challenges, we're able to overcome them? We have that flexibility to get around, to meet them, and to keep going forward, right? And then finally, what is it that we owe ourselves? When we talk about planning for the future, what do we owe ourselves in that regard? Go to the next slide. So some of the things I want to talk about today, I'm going to start talking about technical expertise, right? What does that mean? Kind of making sure we have the technical expertise to be, proficient when you get to the outside world. I want to talk about educational opportunities, what the Air Force can do to provide opportunities for you to continue your education, right? And not have to build up student debts or loans. And then I want to talk about progression and some other opportunities the Air Force has to offer. All right, go to the next slide. So first off, technical expertise. The big thing about the Air Force and technical expertise is that our main focus is always going to be on making sure the pilots come back safe, right? So in order to do that, our main focus is always going to be about building the best people that can do the job as best as possible. Right, so whether that be mechanical, whether that be IT, whether that be intelligence, no matter what you do, you don't have to have any kind of history in it, right? But we're going to build you up to that point to where you can achieve what you need to do, where you can be a proficient expert in that field, just by being part of our technical school. Okay, and that's very similar to like vocational staff school. Now, one of the cool things about that program is as you're going through it, right? As you're getting that skill, you're actually getting paid. You're doing your work, right? And you're also earning that skill. So you don't have to worry about entry levels entry-level jobs requiring 3 years of experience to get in, right? You're already building that skill up. You're already giving yourself that competitive edge. Additionally, as you go through the programs, you're also earning credits towards what's called a community college of the Air Force degree. And essentially what this is a program that's an associate's degree that as you're doing the work, as you're getting on-the-job training, as you're getting paid, as you're doing all that, you're actually earning credits towards a degree that can be transferred to a bachelor's degree later down the line, or even just give you a head start so that when you do get to the outside world, you have something. We go to the next slide, please. Next thing I'd like to talk about is education, right? In today's world, education is incredibly important. Regardless of what field you're going to, it's something that a lot of people are going to need. The average tuition cost is going to be about $3,600. And while a lot of people might have ways to pay for that, they might have scholarships and plans in place, right? A lot of people won't. And having to take on that student debt or having to make that decision is always something that's difficult, right? Having options to you, having opportunities, ability to help with that is always going to help. Now, the Air Force kind of goes about this in a couple ways. The first way, while you're in, is what's called tuition assistance, and that's going to be about $4,500 a year you can go towards your education. You can use that while you're working, you can use that while you're getting paid, while you're doing everything, and it's a method you can use to kind of set yourself up to build that education up for the future. I've seen people come in for 4 years, leave with a bachelor's degree. I've seen people stay for 10 years, come up with a master's, right? It's a very good program, as long as you're using it and taking advantage of it, it's going to be there for you. Now, the second way a lot of people pursue education with the Air Force, and this is something that's available across all branches, is through what's called the postnatal NGI program. Now, what this program is essentially is after you serve your 4 years, you get 4 years of college eligibility. Now, that'll cover stuff like tuition, moving costs, school, housing, all those kind of things, so that you can take that, if you weren't able to finish your education while you're in school, you're able to take that and pursue something on the outside. Now, the thing that's very cool about this as well is that even if you already have a bachelor's degree or you have an associate's degree, you can pursue higher level education and start going after your master's, after things higher than that, so long as it's within that 4 years. It's a very interesting program. It's available across all branches, and it's very useful. Next slide. The final thing I kind of want to talk about here is just progression and other opportunities the Air Force has to offer. So, you know, when we're talking about a lot of these jobs, right, and I was talking about how when I was working my job, I kind of felt myself stagnating. That's something that's always incredibly hard to fight. And part of the Air Force's drive, and part of their big thing that they try to do, is they try to fight off that stagnation within the programs, right? The first thing is going to be by constantly developing and constantly building up your technical expertise, okay? As you're ranking up, as you're going through the process of the military, there's going to be opportunities for you to learn new things, to learn more in-depth things, right? To become more of an expert in your field, so that when you do get on the outside, you're going to have a skill set that transfers to the civilian world, and it's competitive. The other way we can help do that is through leadership development, right? What we'll do is we'll go through classes, through other kinds of briefings and things that kind of help you develop as a leader, help you lead people, help you understand how to do public speaking, how to reach out to your community, stuff like that that can help you really kind of take that next step on in your career, whether it be the Air Force or on the outside. Additionally, we have things along the lines like opportunities for citizenship. So in order to join the military, you do have to have a green card. However, if you join the military, it actually expedites your citizenship process, meaning that within a year of joining, you'll be able to get that citizenship right and be able to kind of continue forward with your career as a United States citizen. The cool thing about that as well is that once you do have your citizenship, you're going to be able to sponsor your family, like parents or direct related to the family to you, so they can become a citizen and help be a part of the country that you're serving. The last thing I'd like to talk about is called the Ambassador Program. All right, well, the Ambassador Program is it's for juniors who are interested in continuing forward in the process, right? They're interested in kind of stepping forward and starting joining the Air Force a little bit early, right? And that's available to all juniors, and the only requirements for that are parental approval, right? So if you're 17, you're really interested in the Air Force, you really want to start the process now, you can join 17 with parental approval. And it really does help with some standards in terms of getting certain jobs, helps you get a shorter list of jobs, so you kind of get more of a choice in what you want to get into. Whether that be mechanical, IT work, etc. Go to the next slide. So this is a very similar to what we went over today. We talked about technical expertise, right, education, and some other opportunities that we have as the Air Force. Go one more slide here. And what I want to go back to is we kind of think of it is what we started out with today, right? We talked about how do you develop yourself, how do you plan for your future. So what can the Air Force do for you? We kind of talked a little bit about that, right? We can give you the education, we can give you that technical expertise, so we can kind of build you up so that when you do get to the outside, you're going to be competitive, right? We talked about educational benefits, all those kind of things. And then finally, the last thing I'd like to ask is, what do you owe yourself? Right, we talked about that at the beginning. At the end of the day, it's going to be up to you to build your future. It's your future, and it's up to you to build it up, to make sure you're going to be successful, to make sure that those goals you have aren't just going to be dreams, but they're going to be a reality, something tangible that you can use. I think everyone knows it themselves to explore all the options available to them to make sure that they're the most successful they can be. So don't be afraid to reach out, whether it's to myself, another military branch, to a counselor, right? Look into your options, prepare for your future. Get ready for what it's going to be like after high school. See what plans you have in place for college, for further education, for vocational work. Because it is important, and it's easy to be scared of reaching out, but it's very important for you to start setting yourself up for the future. Next slide. So this is my contact information. If any of you guys have any questions, any concerns, you want any additional information, feel free to reach out. You can email me, you can call me, you can text me, I'll be available to you. Those are my numbers up there. And thank you guys very much for your time. That's all I got. Appreciate you.
All right, if you were a presenter, if you guys can start coming up here, if you were a presenter, something that I want you guys to think about. There was a quote that we heard, a goal without a plan is a wish. Let me highlight the word goal. Okay, notice something Jaciano said, class of 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a senior, do you remember your sophomore year? If you are a junior, do you remember your freshman year? Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen, my point is 2 years goes like that. JC Otto's a crew chief. 2 years. Okay, he's a crew chief. So he's developing a skill that he'll be able to use. A goal without a plan is a wish. So we're going to transition here to questions that you guys might have, but I gotta tell you guys are an amazing opportunity. Notice how many times you heard the word opportunity. You have people here, and I'm going to say this, guys, that love you. They don't know you, but you're a student, and they love students. You have people here that gave up a whole day for you. So ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. We're gonna take about 30 seconds. Okay, what I would like you to do is think about a question that you might have. And then whoever's just next to you, just say, you know what, this is a question I would have. So if we just take about 30 seconds and just let the person next to you know what question might you guys have. Okay, if you would just do that now, let them know what your question might be. I've been about 15 seconds. Again, just come up with a question, guys. About 15 seconds. All right, so you guys should start coming up with that question. So we'll have a couple of minutes here, and then you can ask the question this way. You could say this, my friend would have this question because you have somebody next to you. So if you want to ask the question that way, very well, hey, my friend has this question. And you don't have to tell us who your friend is. Or maybe like, hey, you know what, I'm kind of curious about this. Okay, so then you have presenters here. You guys can ask any of those questions. And who's taking my microphone? Okay, and then we're going to have a runner. If you have a question, throw your hand up, and then my friend has this question, or you can just say, I have this question. Again, guys, as you're thinking about who's going to raise their hand, 2 years. Goes like that. Okay? So if you have a question, raise your hand, please.
I'm James. How did you find out about Patriots Club?
We so.
He froze.
I personally found Patriots Club via Dr. Rally. It's not my choice, guys. I sort of was introduced to the club via Nick because he was asking me what we're into the military or not, and from there he kind of just worked me in. So, please work down.
I found Features Club also via Dr. Allen. I found it because I was in a previous club of his, and he told me, he said, you're in the wrong club, what are you doing here? And that's when I found it.
I actually found out through a friend and brother. Oh wait. That's. Is there any more questions?
For the chaplain, is chaplaincy solitary? Do you have a lot of time when you're traveling? And because I heard that it was very solitary, that you traveled a lot, you didn't really stay with your branch as much. Not branch, but you understand.
So chaplaincy is it's different. I'm not active duty Air Force, so my chaplaincy isn't a part of the Air Force. However, I do travel a lot. In Civil Air Patrol, I have a position called wing chaplain. So my job is chaplaincy as a chaplain in the wing is over all of the state of Washington, and so I travel a lot for that. But as a local chaplain, I wouldn't travel very often. If we had a mission close by for emergency services, I would, but not very much. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, another one, is there a lot of women in chaplaincy, or is it just mostly men?
I didn't hear you.
Is there a lot of women in chaplaincy?
Women, yes. In fact, yeah. In fact, on the Washington wing, we had our nationally, our former chief of chaplains just stepped out of the position. She was a woman, so she was in charge of all of chaplaincy for Civil Air Patrol. And on the Washington wing, we have two. There's 4 chaplains in the state. 2 of them are women. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question for Staff Sergeant Jenkins. What's been the most rewarding part for you about being in the Air Force?
So I think the most rewarding part for me, right, I kind of grew up in like a smaller town. It's kind of north of Seattle, place called like Buffalo. Probably don't know about it, but I think the most rewarding part for me is just kind of seeing places, you know. A lot of the people I've met, all the places I've been since I've been in, it's people I wouldn't have met anywhere else, you know. It's caliber of people that you wouldn't really meet if I would stay where I was, if that makes sense. Right, being able to see the world, being able to see different kinds of people, right, being able to meet people from all over the place, you know. I mean, I never thought in my life I'd meet people from like Guam to you know, Japan, from all these different places, but in the military, you get to see a lot of different kinds of people, and it's, people's stories are fascinating, so I think that's why I'm my favorite part.
Okay, next question. Right up here. And we got time for probably one more question after this.
What does it take to get the cadet wings application?
To get the Cadet Wings application. So part of Civil Air Patrol, to get the Cadet Wings program, you would actually have to earn several steps to get there. Cadet Wings, because it's a full scholarship per flight, is actually pretty competitive. But there are, you have to have gone to an NCSA, you have to have gone to an ACAMA, other than the NCSA, other than Cadet Wings. And you would have had to probably get at least your bill of national award, which is about halfway through the cadet program to be able to be competitive for that. So.
Okay, one more question, guys. Again, this is an opportunity. 2 years, one more question.
What's the one thing you did to prepare to get into the Air Force? What's one thing you did to prepare to get into the Air Force?
One thing compared to the Air Force. So the big things I always say for people, right, is, you know, while you're still in high school, keep studying, right? The better you do it in college, the better you do in high school, you can do programs like Running Start. That can even help you get higher ranks. On top of that, right, for staying physically fit, doing PT, doing extra PT physical training, doing exercise, stuff like that, running. That's gonna help you when you do get into like EMT and do all those training standards. And then outside of that, programs like Civil Air Patrol, programs like that we have here today, like the Patriots Club, those are all good programs that can help you kind of prepare for what's not necessarily what's going to like, you know, literally, but it's going to kind of get you to that mindset, kind of get you to like what the atmosphere is like, and things like that. So those are the things I'd say.
We got a few more minutes, we're going to 29, so we can take a couple more questions.
Yes. We think it was 25.
What's the most rewarding part of being in the Air Force?
The most rewarding part? I think the most rewarding part for me is when I was doing my job, right? I was like an intelligence guy. So a lot of times when I saw the work I was doing actually help people out, right? Actually make sure people were safe, make sure people were getting home when they needed to, right? I think that was kind of a lot of the most rewarding part of it, right? Seeing how my work translated into the bigger picture. Because in the Air Force, you know, everything you do in the Air Force, whether you're from services, security forces, you know, up to being a general, right? Everything you're doing is going towards a common goal. So kind of seeing that all culminate, all that kind of come together, I think was probably the most rewarding part for me.
It's good for exercising in the Air Force.
One more time?
It's good for exercising in the Air Force.
Exercise in the Air Force.
Exercising for the Air Force? Is that what you answered?
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of the PT work, a lot of the physical training you're going to be doing is going to be running, sit-ups, and push-ups. Okay. So for running, a lot of times what they're looking for is kind of being a mile and a half. And if you want to really train for that, right, I'd recommend doing like 2 miles. But you'd like to see doing that in around, under 14 minutes. So between 12 and 14 minutes usually. For sit-ups and push-ups, that kind of depends on
How many push-ups do you need to make for the Air Force?
So for the Air Force, you need about 40 for males. It's about 40 push-ups and 40 sit-ups.
Give me 100 push-ups in my house.
You do 100?
Yeah.
You ready to go?
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anybody else have a question?
How fast is the process to joining the Air Force?
So how fast is the process? It really depends, right? So like I was saying, if you're your junior, you can start that if you really want to. But generally what we see kind of come through is as they're in senior in high school, right? Or after they graduate. Generally the time frame from beginning to end is I usually like to say about 3 months. But sometimes it can be short, sometimes it can be longer, it kind of depends on the case by case basis. But generally, I'd say about from the first time we meet, the first time we have an appointment, it's about 3 months. And granted, you're obviously going to have to graduate high school and all that first, so in that case, it'd be obviously longer.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Okay, so there's going to be an opportunity Ian out at the tables to talk with these gentlemen about the opportunities that they have in their organizations. Of course, there's also Baker's Club information out there as well, and you can always drop by Mr. Haney's Portable 23 or C1035 to talk to one of us about the opportunities here to get you prepared to go on that track if that's what you choose. We want to thank you people before we dismiss here. So we want to thank our presenters for presenting, Staff Sergeant Jenkins and Chaplain Gossett for being willing to come and talk to us today. And we have special guests, Lieutenant Colonel Lynn Poker and Mrs. Nancy Poker up here. We want to thank them for coming today, special guests. Thank you to our student body and to our administrative team for supporting our activities. And now we're going to have a few minutes before we dismiss. Any other questions? Otherwise, prepare maybe to speak to them when you have an opportunity at the tables. Don't leave them here until we're dismissed.